I'ma keep it a bean. Stick to the script, every scene. This from last year, but they clean. Say to say, I'ma take something else, but it's winning team. Charlie Sheen, fam gang, the regime. I'm from Piney Green.
Welcome aboard, my name is Shellitronnn and I'll be your tank commander for this upcoming season. Please keep all hands and feet inside the train at all times. Keep all bags out of the aisle and keep all attention up front because this will be a bumpy ride. All year long, this will be a bumpy ride. And in this video right here, I don't want to go too deep into details because right now, all we know is speculative. It's all hearsay right now. And just about anyone with more than 6.5 brain cells working at 60% can probably tell you that what we're seeing, what we're hearing in the ether, in the news right now is probably kind of true. But we have a lot of time to get to that information. Once we actually get it's like 2 days away when free agency starts, so we'll actually know the whole facts. So I'm going to touch on these things that we're hearing and then talk about what led up to it. Like I said, it won't be going into too much detail because we have all summer to talk about these Hornets, talk about the future and the present of the Hornets, and even touch on the past to find out what happened, what led us here, and where the team can look forward to being in the next couple to few to maybe even the next decade, honestly, because there is a lot to unpack here, going over from Rich Cho, Michael Jordan, Mitch Kupchak. There's a lot of things here, but I want to start off with two tweets back to back. One was from about 2 o'clock in the afternoon on the 27th of June, and the other is from about 1 o'clock in the morning on the 28th. Note the first one right here. This is from Adam Kaufman. He says, per Stephen A. Smith, the Hornets offered Kemba Walker 5 years and around $160 million, which is well shy of the Supermax option. Supermax is about $221 million, so this offer is $61 million less than what Kemba could have been getting. And he informed Charlotte he won't be returning. Celtics are expected to sign the 3-time All-Star. That is wild to me. Look, we all understand the Hornets cap struggles right now, and we'll get to that in a second, but offering this man Kemba Walker, literally the only reason to even tune into a Hornets game, $160 million is that's a slap in the face. But even more than that, it's an insult. You know, you can add insult to injury, which means, you know, the insult's worse than the injury. This is an insult right here that should be not even anywhere close to even if they offer him a much bigger package in the next couple of days, I wouldn't even look at it if I'm Kemba. If this is an actual true report, and there could be, no matter how you feel about Stephen A. Smith, I mean, he doesn't really get fed wrong information too often. If it's even around 160, this is an insulting offer. And then Wojnarowski, we've heard a lot about him recently, and we've been kind of led to question just how reliable his info is. I won't get into all that. But in this tweet from Tomer Azarly, who is an NBA credential writer for the Clippers, he says on SportsCenter just now, Woj pretty much just said Kemba is signing a deal with the Celtics 4 years, $141 million on Sunday night, and has essentially left Charlotte in the rear view mirror. Sounds like Kemba is going to Boston. Now look, both these tweets here are speculative. You know, the actual period of talking to free agents hasn't really started yet. And this isn't really tampering yet because every single NBA team does talk to free agents before the actual period to talk to these guys. But most guys are a little bit smarter than Magic Johnson and don't get caught. They do it behind closed doors. And these things do leak out, but you can't really prove these things have happened. So, I mean, you can speculate on these things, but these guys are getting fed probably some good information here. But I don't want to spend too much time talking about Kemba going to the Celtics or going to any specific team in this video because we'll find that information out on Sunday. What I want to talk about here is the ineptitude of the Hornets. Now look, it's kind of hard to put the blame on one man and one man only. Look, we can blame Rich Cho for, signing Nicolas Batum. Nicolas Batum is a guy, if you squint, if you look kind of hard, if you look away, just glance at him for half a second, you might see a guy who's on the fringe of being an all-star type player. You might see a guy who can put up some numbers that are very impressive, but in 2016, he signed a 5-year, $120 million contract with the Charlotte Hornets. The Charlotte Hornets knowing full well that in 2 years, they would have to pay Kemba Walker. And that same exact offseason, the Orlando Magic picked up a Bismack Biyombo, who was pretty good in that, I think it was the Eastern Conference Finals series against the Cavs in the 2015-2016 season. And everyone, look, I was impressed with Biyombo. I thought Biyombo was going to be a really good player, a really great center in the league. I thought he had his coming out year. Everyone was talking about Biyombo. It was even those edits on that Kendrick song Humble. Everyone was saying, sit down, Biyombo. I mean, that was kind of dope. I mean, we were all kind of high on Biyombo. But it turned out after 2 years with the Magic, Biyombo was not all that great. The man got the bag. He secured the bag and stopped playing. And then the Hornets said, you know what? Just last year, they said, you know what? Let's get Biyombo. We picked this man's deal up. $17 million owed for the next 2 years. I have no idea. Look, we understand the Hornets needed a center. We needed an interior kind of guy who could do something. But then we have to talk about Frank Kaminsky. Frank Kaminsky was a guy who, was he a power forward? Was he a center? Where do we play this man? He looked good. And then we bench him for half the year for a guy who was not as good as him, a guy who could not score at the volume that Frank Kaminsky could be. And look, Frank was not the best player, but he was one of the better players on the team. Like, when you're the Charlotte Hornets, you really can't talk about best player. You gotta just say, look, there's Kemba, and who else on the team can contribute, kind of. And Frank was definitely in that category of guys who could have contributed. So we have Biyombo. We're overpaying for Nick Batum, who we are now actually shopping his contract around the league because he's owed, what is it? I think it's $25 million this year and $27 million next year. Nick Batum. What team's going to take this man off of our books? I mean, no one's smart. And, I really want to blame a lot of this on Rich Cho, but he was a guy who did pick Kemba Walker, which was a great pick in 2011. And in 2012, look, the whole landscape, the whole perception of the Hornets could have been 100% different in 2012. The 2012 draft, we got jobbed. We were the worst team by far. I think the Pelicans had, 3 times as many wins as us? You will not convince me or literally any other Hornets fan the 2012 draft was not rigged. Because that was the draft where there was one and only one player who everyone knew was going to be the number 1 pick, and that was Anthony Davis. If we had Kemba Walker and Anthony Davis, back-to-back years, rookie deals, the whole landscape of Charlotte as a whole, not even just the Hornets, Charlotte as a media market would have blown up. This was actually after this. 2011 was the year the Panthers got Cam Newton as well. Imagine this. You get Cam and Kemba the same year. The next year, you get AD. Charlotte's on the map. Both teams probably look a lot different at this very moment if we had gotten AD. But we all understand the draft got rigged and the Pelicans got AD. And it was pretty much downhill from there. I mean, look, we got Cody Zeller. Sheesh. But Cody, 4th overall in 2013. Them Zeller boys, look. Michael Jordan loves him some tall white boys. But the biggest thing was, it was that Nick Batum. Come on, man. That Nick Batum contract is most of the reason why we're here right now. We do not have the money to sign Kemba. And honestly, the team just really couldn't sign him because we don't have any pieces. We draft bad, we pick up bad free agents, and even when we do evaluate good talent, we don't pay that talent the appropriate amount, so we end up overpaying guys for services that really just aren't really hitting the way they really need to be. And when you think about it, the teams just run really poorly. It starts with Jordan. Mitch can probably do a better job, but with Jordan overhead, can you really do a better job? Rich Cho did really good work to start off with. But after 2012, after getting hamstrung in 2012, not getting AD, it was pretty much all downhill from there. I like the Frank Kaminsky pick. He had his bird rights, but I think it was already reported that we're not going to exercise those, and he's an unrestricted free agent this offseason. And then there's Jeremy Lamb, who we really just can't afford anyway, and keeping him would just be bad. He's going to the Lakers most likely. So we're going to lose 3 of our most exciting players this offseason. Kemba Walker, Jeremy Lamb, and Frank Kaminsky. What's the team? What are the Hornets? Who are the Hornets? And every player in the league, but more specifically, players who are going to be free agents in the next upcoming years, next couple or 3 years, just saw how we treated Kemba Walker. Why would any free agent want to come to the Hornets, knowing that our front office is bad, knowing we don't have really any good players, and seeing just how Kemba, the only bright spark, who was the last player on the Hornets who you can say with any kind of certainty was had anywhere close to the impact that Kemba has had? Is it Rich Cho's fault? Is it Jordan's fault? Whose fault is it? Why is the team like this? We'll get even deeper in this kind of stuff in the next upcoming days, talking about where Kemba's actually going to be going, Jeremy Lamb. We'll talk even more about the history and what we can look forward to and what the actual plan of action should be going forward. But for right now, man, that's all I got for you today. What are your thoughts on Kemba leaving? Is he actually going to leave? Do you still believe he's going to be staying here? Let me know all your thoughts in the comments below. Hit that sub button. Hit that bell icon. Look, this channel right here is going to be the #1 spot to keep your eyes tuned into for your tank season. And if it's gonna be a bumpy ride, you may as well ride it out with me, man. That's all I got for you though. Thanks for watching. And you already know to do with that like button.
Cheers to you, appreciate the chance. Been told y'all I been the man. Been told y'all I had the gift. Tell a friend to tell a friend. Real ones gonna recommend. Count this as another win.